Руководители КПСС советского государства.
Здравствуйте, ребята!
Слушайте пионерскую зорьку.
В Хабаровске, Владивостоке 22, в Южно-Сахалинске 23 часа.
В Волговятском районе
Последние известия. Передаем утренний выпуск последних известий.
встретили присутствующих.
From its foundation in 1922 until its final demise in 1991, the Soviet Union made up an incredibly significant impact in Europe, essentially filling out the entire eastern side of the continent. A global superpower at its peak, the USSR somehow only lasted a short 70 years. How is this possible, and why exactly did the Soviet Union collapse?
Modern political scientists name many versions or rather indicate the general situation, according to which the collapse of the one powerful state is taking place. Frequently cited reason can be referred in such a list. First is the authoritarian nature of Soviet society. To this point we include the persecution of the Tsars to a persecution of descendants, forced collectivism. Sociologists define collectivism as the willingness to become a personal good for the sake of the common. Second is the dominance of ideology, in its essence, a ban on communication with foreigners, censorship. Third is unfortunate consequences of reforming the Soviet system. They used them for production and trade, then pulled the collapse of the political system with them. The seeding of the phenomenon from the emergence to the economic reform of 1965, and at the end of the 1980s, they began to proclaim the sovereignty of the Republic and stopped increasing the budgets of the Union and the Federal Russian budget. The more conferences were interrupted. 4. General deficit. The situation was depressing with such simple things as a refrigerator, TV, furniture, and even toilet paper. The last one, monocentrism of decision making by Moscow. The situation subsequently caused by the trade of the sovereignties in 1990 to 1991. In addition to the rupture of economic ties between the Union republics, the autonomous republics are separating. Many of them adopt declaration of sovereignty in which the priority of all Union roads over the republics is disputed.
Follows. Mikhail Gorbachev rose to power in 1985 with plans to reform the nation with a hybrid communist capitalist system, similar to modern-day China. He also planned to ease restriction of freedom of speech and religion. Before this, millions of Soviets were arrested for speaking out against the state. However, his plan backfired, as he discovered that the loosening of the people and reforming political restrictions meant the people used their newfound powers to critique the government until they eventually succeeded in pushing the reform. This brand of communism had operated historically on tight central control. The losing control led the abandonment of the entire construct. Cold War tensions with the United States rose in the 70s and 80s, and with Ronald Reagan leadership and the resulting increase in military spending. It seemed that the US had won the nuclear standoff. The Strategic Defense Initiative, or SDI, claimed to be able to blast Russian missiles as they fell, meaning in theory the US could win the long-running Battle of the East. Reagan also managed to isolate the Soviets from the rest of the world economy, and without export sales and oil, the Soviet economy was severely weakened and limited. The Soviets were unable to turn a corner, and the 1980s breadlines were the commonplace as poverty soared. Many people don't have basic clothing or shoes. Under these conditions, it's only a matter of time before the people call out for the regime change. And then there's a nation structure itself. You have 15 radically different republics under one flag. With different ethnicities, cultures, and languages, there are bound to be inherent tensions. In 1989, nationalist movements brought about regime changes in Poland and Czechoslovakia as the Soviet satellite nations began to split away. As these nations began to pull away, the central apparatus was weakened until it finally collapsed. Due to these factors, by 1991, the Soviet Union was unable to maintain its normal functioning economy and to run a huge military simultaneously. This, along with the vision to lessen the control held by central government and the move towards uncensored media, laid the path for total reform.
The fall of the United States had many long-lasting effects on the global economy and the foreign trade. Its downfall increased the United States' influence as a global power. For some countries such as Azerbaijan and Kazakhstan, oil and natural gas exports have created prosperity, but have also enabled corruption. Countries such as Lithuania and Latvia underwent dramatic transformations by quickly turning to the West, adopting Western ideals and political learnings, while other countries such as Armenia and Tajikistan have struggled to flourish in the post-Soviet era, and many citizens remain in poverty, while the states and their politics are unstable.